Here's some major features of our brain that is not nicely color-coded. And you got this major area right here. It's the cerebrum. That's the cerebellum. The grooves are sulky. The really deep grooves are fissures. That's the lateral fissure. The longitudinal fissure. And the longitudinal fissure divides the brain into the cerebral hemispheres. And we have the major lobes of the cerebrum: frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, temporal lobe. The central fissure is a little harder to see, so it's not color-coded, but that's the central fissure. And you got the precentral gyrus, postcentral gyrus. And inferior view, we can see on this brain, cerebellum, temporal lobes of the cerebrum, frontal lobes of the cerebrum. That's the optic nerve. I said optic, it's the olfactory nerve, olfactory bulb, olfactory tract, and there's pituitary gland. And one thing you can see nicely on this brain, you have these little green structures right in here. Those are called mammillary bodies. Olfactory nerve, olfactory bulb, olfactory tract. These are the optic nerves. Where they cross is the optic chiasm, optic tract, heading towards the back of the brain. This is the pons. This is a medulla oblongata. And this thicker area of the medulla oblongata, these are called the pyramids of the medulla oblongata. Holding the pons onto the cerebrum, this area in here, you can see it's kind of stripy, that's called the cerebral peduncle. It's part of the midbrain. And looking at this brain, we have the midbrain right here. This is the cerebral peduncle, holding the cerebrum onto the brainstem. So that's a cerebral peduncle, part of the midbrain. There you can see the mammillary bodies. So again, the cerebral peduncles. On the other side of the brainstem, we have the cerebellar peduncles. Cerebellar peduncles holds the cerebellum on. The cerebellar peduncles connect to that part right there. And there are two parts to the cerebellar peduncle. This one's called the inferior cerebellar peduncle, and then the medial cerebellar peduncle. So inferior cerebellar peduncle, medial cerebellar peduncle. And the brain has white matter and gray matter. White matter just has neurons in it, or it has axons in it. Only has nerve fibers like axons. And this white stuff, that's the white matter of the cerebellum. And in the cerebellum, it's called arbor vitae. So the white matter, just the axons of the cerebellum, is called the arbor vitae. In the cerebrum, you can see gray matter. Gray matter is on the external part of the cerebrum. The superficial part is called the gray matter. And here's white matter.